I remember Tommy had just gotten the Metallica Black record. It wasn't even out yet. And he came to the studio, he's like, dudes, I got the new Metallica record. And he puts it on, and first it's, Enter Sandman. He's like, oh, and then Sad But True came on, and he was just like, dude! And he just, started like, and he fell back in his chair.
We got to talk about that, because if you listen to some of your stuff, and I just recently, and I'm sad to even say this, got introduced the first time to Electric Love Hogs. Oh my gosh, this is the funkiest, heaviest, collaboration of just what will become really all-star players, right? I mean, you guys, you went on to do what you did. I mean, your drummer went on to do what he did. It's incredible. But I went back and I watched him, like, the musicianship. You can tell you studied. But let's talk about that, because not a lot of people know that album was actually tied with Tommy Lee, right?
Yeah. What happened was, so the Love Hogs were a local LA band, and it was a great time. It was like we would play shows with Mighty Joe Young that became Stone Temple Pilots, and Rage Against the Machine, and Tool, and all these bands were coming up at the same time. We'd all play gigs together at these tiny clubs, and Jane's Addiction was like right before us, and it was a great time to just be in that band, and we were all friends and knew each other locally in Hollywood. And then so the band, Tommy Lee was looking for a band to produce, and someone from Geffen brought him to one of our shows, and then we sat down with him afterwards, and he was like, dude, I love this band. Like, I want to produce you guys. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then we ended up getting signed, not with Geffen, but with Polygram. And we did that record, and he ended up, not doing the whole thing. But we had Mark Dodson that had done, that did the Infectious. It's just such a big thing. Like, the studio we were recording, so we're going to do it with Mark Dodson and with Tommy Lee. And Mark Dodson was also doing the first Infectious Grooves record at the same studio. And they were also doing No More Tears at the same studio. This studio Devonshire that doesn't exist anymore.
Wow.
So we were all like in the same kind of common area hanging out. And I'd known the guys from Infectious, and so we did our first record, but it was awesome. Like, it was such a great time, I remember Tommy had just gotten the Metallica Black record had just come. It wasn't even out yet, but because Bob Rock had produced, Dr. Feelgood, and he had, produced a Black record, Tommy had gotten a cassette of it, and he came to the studio. He's like, dudes, I got the new Metallica record, like, on a cassette. He's like, dudes, we got to check it out. And he, like, we're sitting in the not the tracking room, but the control room. And he puts it on, and it's like, first it's, it's, Enter Sandman. He's like, oh, you were just, hearing it in this, with these huge speakers and everything. And then he put on, and then Sad But True came on, and he was just like, dude! And he just, started like, and he fell back in his chair, and he fell on the ground, and he like cranked it, and he blew up the speakers, and I think he had to pay like $10,000 to get the speakers fixed, and it was super fun, man. And he was great. Like, he was so into, he's super musical, he's super into funk and doing cool stuff, and he sang backups, and he's a good singer, so he would do like cool harmonies and stuff, and
wow,
did a little percussion here and there. But he was a good producer. Like, he really knew sonically, what he wanted to hear and how to kind of put it all together. So it was a great experience.
I gotta ask you, did you do all the guitar solos in that album? Because I know there was another guitar player in the band.
No, Donnie Campion, the other guitar player, we split it all pretty even.
Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of tell. Oh, well, I can tell, obviously, but the styles are a little different but mostly, yeah, we split everything.
Did you do the full solo in Tribal Monkey? Because I actually got that on Masters of Shred, and there was a part in there towards the end where I couldn't tell if maybe he hopped in and did that outro of that main solo. That's all you? Okay, cool. I couldn't tell because I know that it's an incredible solo. I just found that video, and it's the only video I could find, official music video for that band. I'm like, this is great, dude. And you see, people were commenting, they're like, I saw those guys live so many times, and some guy actually responded and said, man, I didn't appreciate it much at 16, but now at like 48, damn, I appreciate it so much more. So great, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate the hair.
So, okay, what happened there? Because there you had short hair, right? So you started out with long hair. I saw like a video with you and Tommy Lee and the rest of the band talking about the album being made inside the music studio. You had long hair, and I almost didn't recognize you. And then in that video, it went a little shorter. Right?
I had your haircut.
And then you it all went away and it went to more of the beanie look. Oh, it fell out.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. That's not a big deal.
You know, it's just, dude, it's like the comb over of the new millennium. You know, it's like it happens. You know, it started getting thin, and you just, you know, it's better just shave it. You know.
Well, it is true, dude.
I have a nice
you know
head, so I'm very lucky. And I'll tell you that the story of the mustache is because the guys like that, like I remember when I shaved my head and then I had a goatee, and then I looked like all those guys. You know what I mean? Like we all, like every bald guy with a goatee, and I just like shaved out the middle one day, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And that's how it came to be.
Signature look. How do you pay tribute to one of the greatest guitarists from one of the greatest rock bands of all time? In collaboration with the mighty Sam Hill Customs, Masters of Shred proudly brings to you the limited edition Super Halen 1x12 stack. Each cabinet is scientifically crafted with the highest grade materials to give you that monstrous tone that will light up the sky. Hand-signed and dated by Sam Hill himself, these limited edition amps are limited to just 50 pieces. Draped in the pages of a vintage 1990 Van Halen comic book, the Super Halen is a showpiece that can rock like no other. Each cabinet comes fully loaded with a 12-inch USA-made Green Beret speaker, a total upgrade from the Celestion G12M greenbacks that we've become so accustomed to. Each cabinet is closed-backed just like Eddie's, but we also offer open if you desire. With no two finishes being the same, you can be assured that your Super Halen amp is one of a kind. Visit www.mastersofshred.com now to reserve yours today before you can't get this stuff no more.